Hello and welcome to the GD Politics Podcast. I'm Galen. Economic forecasting has often been as much of an art as a science. But since the pandemic, it seems to have turned into a full-on Jackson Pollock painting. Remember when Biden-era inflation was transitory and no one need worry? Or when a recession was a 100% certainty at the start of 2022? Or how about when Trump's election to a second term marked the start of new boom times? You'd be forgiven if you started to think that folks were just flinging shit at the wall. But even in this era of uncertainty and folly, this moment feels especially disorienting. What's the deal with all the on-again, off-again tariffs? Are the latest promising inflation numbers the calm before the storm? And what do Republicans actually want to do about the deficit, or Medicaid, or taxes? Lucky for us, if anyone can make sense of this economic Jackson Pollock, it's our guest on today's podcast. Neil Irwin is the chief economic correspondent at Axios, and he's also the author of The Alchemists and How to Win. Neil, welcome to the podcast.
Galen, thanks for having me.
So we have spoken before, and I had every intention of reaching out to talk to you today. But as something of a gimmick, I asked ChatGPT to give me a list of the best economic reporters in the United States. Do you want to take a guess at where you ranked?
I am hesitant to even guess because if I just make the list, I'm thrilled.
Neil, you were number one. Are you friends with Sam Altman?
Apparently, that payoff worked out pretty well. Sent that bribe and the training materials like my stuff, I guess.
Right. Okay. So I want to talk to you about two things that are on the top of people's minds today, which is one, the economy, but then also the major tax and spending bill that Republicans are working on in the House. But let's start with the former so we can build some groundwork before we talk about what Republicans want to do with the economy next. How would you describe the current state of the economy? And I have a lot more specific questions to get into, but I want to give you if I'm extending the metaphor here, a blank canvas to start off.
Sure. Look, if you were a doctor and you looked at the patients of the economy, at the major indicators, they all look pretty good. The pulse, the blood pressure, all that sort of thing. The normal big high level things you look at: the unemployment rate, the job growth rate, the things in the details of GDP, kind of industrial production, things like that. They've all held up just fine. First quarter GDP was negative, but that was because of that front running of inventories where companies were bringing in lots of imports ahead of tariffs. So if you just looked at the kind of headline numbers, we wouldn't be talking about economic worries at all. We wouldn't be. We'd be talking about, hey, another good quarter for the U.S. economy. The issue is around the peripherals. It's around the kind of more edge case things that you look at to understand where things might be going. And the survey data has really fallen off a cliff. Inflation expectations have spiked. You see different surveys about businesses, how much they might do in hiring, CapEx, things like that, have softened. Whether that translates into something real, we don't know yet, but it's not showing up in the kind of headline important data.
Yeah, I mean, I have read this article multiple times at this point in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, that goes something along the lines of, bad economic news is everywhere except for in the actual data. I mean, do you agree with those assessments, or do you think there is enough edge data, or would you put enough stock in the consumer sentiment data to say, no, you can see some bad economic news in the data?
I would definitely not put excessive stock in consumer sentiment or any one of these surveys. I think we've seen over and over that their predictive power is not really that great. You ask people anytime over the last 4 years, how are you doing? What's your sentiment? What's your confidence level in the economy?
Like, absolutely terrible. And they're like, do you plan to are you going to actually keep spending? And they're like, absolutely.
Exactly. In fact, it's funny. I went on the the C-SPAN call-in show where they viewers call in. I did that a couple of years ago, and had a guy call in who was very anti-Biden, very angry at Biden and the Democrats, and said inflation's so terrible, the economy's so terrible. I mean, I just bought a second home, and buying furniture for it cost a fortune. I'm like, well, hold on for a second. So the economy's so terrible, you lack any confidence in the economy, but you just bought a second home and a full house full of furniture. The point is, the same could be happening right now, right? People are worried about tariffs. They're worried about the trade war. They're worried about the stock market, but they keep going to the store and keep buying the things they need. And ultimately, that's what an economy is. It's a perpetual motion machine of my spending becomes your income becomes my spending. It becomes a circle. And as long as that virtuous circle doesn't get broken by everything going on in Washington that I'm sure we'll talk about, you can still have a continuing kind of rolling U.S. economy that trundles on despite some of these headwinds and things that we keep talking about.
Why has sentiment become so unmoored from the